Without further ado, I'm going to welcome you to the 5th Annual Women of Vision Conference. So for those of you who are attending our conference for the first time, I would like to take you through what our visions and our missions and our goals are. Our vision is to have women working together to build healthier, stronger families, communities, and by promoting self-confidence and leadership. We have different relationships with our children, relationships with our friends, relationship with our colleagues, relationship with our neighbors, and of course, we have relationship with our significant others. And those people who haven't had relationship with significant others yet can also learn how to look for a good relationship by hearing from a male psychologist, a male family counselor. So we don't want to pigeon ourselves in a hole. We're open to learning and we're open to other people's views.
I was passionate about women taking away the fact that whatever happens in their relationship with their spouses affects their children, whether directly or indirectly. And I hope they got that.
So today I've been asked to speak on parenting, mainly relationships and forgiveness. And a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about today, especially about parenting, I'm not going to just be talking about my clinical experience or clinical knowledge. I'm also going to be talking about my my experiences as a parent. I have 2 sets of twins who are adults and they're 18 months apart. Don't ask me how to do it.
I kept it real, and I believe everybody connected with what I said.
Dr. Woke talking about bringing up our children. I mean, that was big for me.
So parenting is about giving messages to your children. And most times when we give messages, we think it's verbal messages. Our children are watching our body language, your facial expression. So what you say and what you do, the children see. What your spouse does, the children also see. What other adults who are under your roof in your home do, your kids are also watching.
Because we were just talking on my table, we struggle here, okay? We come from a community with a different set of values, and you're bringing up children in a different culture. And talking about, I think what I would summarize as coaching. How, as our kids get into the teenage years, we're really coaches and developing those skills. And I like what she said about asking the right questions, you know, that kind of a thing. So yeah, it was great. And then talking about breast health, that was another great session. So as a guest, it was really wonderful to just sit back, relax, and enjoy the workshops.
Raising your child is a holistic exercise. You don't leave one path and do the other. And there are some questions I've put here for reflections. I just want to ask you to reflect within you. How were you parented by your own parents? Just take a second and think about it. How was your spouse or the father of your children parented by his own parents? How has your childhood experiences affected who you are today as an adult? How have these experiences affected your adult relationships? So these are questions for each and every one of us to think about, because we are all products of our environment and we can't give what we don't have.
This is my second time, and each time I come, I enjoy it.
I haven't been to any of these conferences. I hear this is the 5th one. And so I'm so delighted to be here. I loved everything about it. I like the concept of having a conference for women, minority women, that addresses issues of women. I loved it, and I hope we're going to see more of this in the future.
Intimacy in marriage. I know there's some of you who will be married like 70 years, 50 years, 40 years. Anybody here who's been married for
200 years? No. Marriage, we all know, is designed or was designed to be one of the most important and fulfilling human relationships. But for most people, as some of you here would bear witness, sometimes what often starts off as a dream often turns into a nightmare. Intimacy requires vulnerability, being known by your partner. As someone put it, that being yourself in the presence of another person. Often when we talk about intimate relationship, our mind goes to sex. Intimacy isn't just sex. But as we know, marriage was designed to be a place of trust and openness, a place where vulnerability can thrive.
The whole theme, which was about relationships, was extremely well done. The speakers from Dr. Boateng talking about intimacy in marriage and talking about sort of the key to success and the barriers. I mean, that for me was my big takeaway.
I want to share with you some of the predictors of divorce. Number one is criticism. And criticism is where you attack your partner's character and personality. Number two is contempt. Of all these four, criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling, contempt is the greatest predictor of divorce. Contempt is where you attack your partner's sense of self with the intention to insult your partner or to psychologically abuse him or her. Often we focus on the mistakes and the problems that we see in our partners instead of finding something that we can appreciate. If you really want to find something, you would find it. Number three is defensiveness. Defensiveness is where you see yourself as a victim. So if you think you're a victim, guess what happens? You build a wall. You perceive an attack and then you push back. Examples will be making excuses. You cross complaints. So your husband comes home from work, maybe he's so tired. The moment you see him, okay, you go on a rant. This happened with a kids, that happened, look at how I'm so exhausted, blah, blah, blah. So now his mind isn't there, okay? He's tuned out already. And then he starts telling you about all the things that happened. So who gets to listen to each other? Nobody, right? The last one is stonewalling. This is where you withdraw from the relationship as a way to avoid conflict. Sometimes we do that to think, well, I just want to be neutral. Stonewalling conveys a message of disapproval, the icy distance and separation, disconnection. And so what's the solution? Whether it's differences, whether it is personality differences, whether it's an issue related to conflicts, the solution is an honest, grace-filled communication, understanding to lovingly pull down the walls and to risk vulnerability and restore intimacy in your marriage.
I think there was a lot of really inspiring and empowering information that they shared with us, and I think it's important to have these kind of events because we need to support our women.
We women, we're supposed to come together, come together, ladies, night or ladies' day. We need that because we work, take care of children, being wives and all that. We need this day.
We have often also talk about how us as women can create and build wealth and be financially independent.
Women are strong. I came to terms with this the first time I found myself in a labor room. I didn't realize that you could faint standing. And that happened to me. I passed out, literally. But I was still on my feet. Yes, you can take a lot. Yes, you can go through quite a bit. But it might be helpful to have something in place that helps along the way.
These are the kind of topics that women want to hear and encourage in their marriage relationships and in their household and in building their children, family and all that. We could also talk about growing adults because most of us here, we bring our kids so young and they are now turning adults. How do we manage those kind of stuff?
The knowledge we gain a lot of knowledge because the topics that we are presented today were all very educative.
MAFER is trying to take a different approach and a different look at breast imaging. Instead of having a standard exam for every woman, we're trying to take a look and make an individual breast care plan for you as an individual. We're basing that off of your personal history, your family history, and your breast density. Increase in breast density also makes you at higher risk for breast cancer. And lots of people don't know that. It's becoming more and more known. So we're trying to really get the word out that you need to take care of your breasts if you have dense breasts. As your breasts get more dense, mammography is able to see your breasts less. So it's important to still have a mammogram, but to include other exams. So what is breast density? So breast density is basically knowing what your breasts are made of. Every breast is made up of tissue, fat, connective tissue, and glandular tissue, and it's the ratio of those types of tissue that determine how dense your breasts are. Most women will lay in sort of a middle ground, and your breast density will change with age, usually going from more dense at a younger age to less dense as you get older. I always tell my patients, it's not an enjoyable exam, but it's quick. And it's not going to feel great, but it shouldn't hurt. You're going to feel pressure. For an exam, your breast is compressed between two plates, and pictures are taken of both breasts, usually one from the top and one from the side. Generally, at Mayfair, we recommend between the ages of 40 and 50 that you have an exam yearly. And then over the age of 50, you can go down to every 2 years. There's some exceptions to that if you have a strong family history or a personal history of breast cancer. If you have implants, you should be coming every year, but your report will always tell you how often you should be coming. You can refer yourself for a mammogram. So all you need to do is call our booking line again. You have to have a family physician who we can send a report to. The report goes directly to that family physician and only to them after the exam, but you'll also get a letter in the mail from the Alberta Breast Screening Program letting you know that your mammogram is clear.
We have so many problems when it comes to breast cancer. Women, when you come to this, women, you know what? I am so happy that Dr. Flora Aladi, talked to us about the breast cancer, because I remember the first time I went for my mammogram, I was scared to death because I went and I was told to come back 6 months. I was like, I think this is done annually. Why are they telling me to come 6 months? They said, it happens when you come the first time because women have all the gadgets in their breasts. Sometimes what you have this side is not what you have this side. So we have to do it the second time to make sure, it's the same thing and nothing is growing more than the other. I said, okay, thank God. But that 6 months was 6 months of hell to me because I was like, no, they're lying to me. Maybe they found something. But thank God, nothing was found. So it's good to learn about this and know that going for your mammogram is good. And ultrasound, sometimes you go to mammogram, they tell you to go for ultrasound. There's nothing bad in that. It's good that something is detected earlier than later. So this is really, very educative for the women.
So now, who is at risk? Of course, female are more at risk than male. As we get older, especially age 40, when things start to change. If there's a family history of breast cancer, like there's a particular gene that will predispose you to breast cancer. I don't know if you guys know Angelina Jolie, she had this kind of genetic changes. That was why she opted for, she went for
breast remover,
mastectomy. If you've not had a child or if you're having your first child at the elderly age, in this case after the age 35, if you're using hormone replacement therapy, especially after 5 years, it's a risk. I know most of us want to reverse aging, so when we start experiencing hot flashes, we go to a family doctor and we start asking for hormone replacement therapy. I use it as the last option because I always explain to the patient, I don't think it's a good idea, but of course the patient has the final say, right? But you have to tell them the risk. There are other options you can use in place of hormone replacement therapy. So if it depends on what you have, it's almost impossible for one person to have the mood swings, the hot flashes, the dryness and everything. But some people have more of the mood swings, some have more of the hot flashes. There are other medications you can use. They are very safe instead of the hormone replacement therapy. If we're using oral contraceptions, that will put you at risk. If you've had a family history of breast cancer, of course it's obvious. If you've had radiation to the chest. So I know the healthcare is free. Some people, when they have any little chest infection, they're always requesting for x-ray. It's not always a good idea because the more you expose your chest to radiation, the more you put yourself at risk. And the final one is obesity. I know most of us are guilty of this. You know, back in the days, they say if you're overweight, it means you're healthy or you're rich. That's not the case now. Yeah, because obesity is almost implicated in most health conditions. So as much as possible, I always encourage people, it's time you take control of your health. Obesity is no longer a sign of good living. It means you're sick. Now we talk about breast exam. In looking at self-breast exam, there are two schools of thought. Some would say don't do it because it will encourage over-investigation. But I'm in the school of thought that encourages people to try to do a breast exam at least. During this breast exam, we have to be very mindful of the time. We try to avoid doing the breast exam during our menstrual period because then the breast may be lumpy and tender and that would cause unnecessary skin. So in doing the breast exam, we have to look at yourself on the mirror. You look at the shape. In the shape, you're looking at, is it getting bigger? Is there any changes? Is there any nipple changes? Or is there any retraction? Or is there any redness or rashes? You also feel the 4 quadrants. Some videos, some people would say use the tip of your finger, but I prefer using the flap because in that way you're able to touch the 4 quadrants without missing any segment.
For myself personally, I think that a lot of the people that spoke, like a lot of the professionals, they're counselors, they're in psychology, and that's something that I studied in school. So it was kind of like information that motivated me to know that I'm on the right path and to continue what I'm doing and to be able to educate people the way they educated me. So I think that's what I feel.
Aim higher because sky's the limit. We plan to fly like eagles, and we would like to get the community involved.
I think I really like the fact that people enjoy themselves. They're able to take something home, something that they can work on. I like to impact people. And I can see that today some people were impacted.
I'm so happy, my daughter was just listening and looking at me like, wow, So there are so many things she learned. And my goddaughter Amanda also, came, she's still here. I paid for her ticket. I said, you have to come because you will learn a lot. And she's so happy that she came.
It was very fulfilling to me, and I believe it was very fulfilling for the women that came. And in this room, there were women of different generations, grandmoms, new moms, middle-aged moms. Everybody took something home.
It was just, for me, a collaboration of women coming together to share a common experience. It was very powerful. I had fun. It was relaxing. It was just good being around, strong-minded women. It was good. I enjoyed it. The exposure was really good. I met so many people who had seen the product but hadn't seen the face behind the product, so it was good meeting them and, trying to engage with them. Come next year. I'll be here next year, so come.
We did more than we thought we were going to do. We achieved more than what we set out to achieve. And as such, people are asking for more.
You know what? I'm so happy that we were able to do this. It's an example for the younger generation. We like them to see what we do, learn from it, and move on.
I think I'm going to speak for myself. It thrills my heart and warms my heart when I can contribute something meaningful to community at large, to people's lives.